It feels somehow mushy, like not mushy in the hand, but mushy on the scalp.
Here, what noise do potatoes make?
Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Cassandra and this is where I talk about my life experiences and lessons learned to try and help other people who might be in similar situations. If that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. In this video, I want to talk to you about brushes. The reason for this is because I am in a few communities for neurodivergent people, so people with things like sensory processing issues, autism, ADHD, and I see this question being asked a lot: what is the best kind of brush to use for people who don't really like having their hair brushed for whatever reason? So the first brush I want to talk about is actually not a brush at all. It's a comb. The reason I want to talk about this one is because a lot of people actually use combs as brushes, so for detangling the hair throughout the day. As you can see, the teeth on a comb, even on the wide side, are quite tight together. So in terms of thicker hair or more tangled hair, a comb is not very good for general detangling because it's very uncomfortable and it can cause damage and breakage to the hair. So when should you use a comb? A comb can be good for when you are distributing product throughout your hair once it's still wet, if you want to create a part, or if you want the hair to lie really smoothly, for example, because you're cutting it or about to straighten it, something like that. But for everyday detangling throughout the day on dry hair, combs aren't really very good for that. The next brush I'm going to cover is also not very good for general day-to-day detangling. It is a round brush. Round brushes should only really be used when styling the hair with a blow dryer. So if you want to have like a nice big blowout, then a round brush is ideal for that, but it's not very good for general day-to-day detangling just because it's not suitable. And to be honest as well, you'll see on this particular brush, the little spikes or spokes don't have anything on the end, so that sensation on the scalp can be very rough and sometimes quite jaggy and painful. The reason it's still like this is so that it can slide through your hair while you're blow drying it. You can get ones with little dots on the end as well that stay in your hair more and are less painful. But then again, because they stay in the hair more, it's actually not so good for the design purpose, which is to use during blow drying. The next brush I'm going to talk about actually came from the same pack as the round brush that I just showed you, and it's a regular paddle brush. You'll see a lot of these around. It's just made of plastic. It's got these spokes coming out, and again, it's got these little dots on the end to stop it from being too jaggy or painful for you. This is your sort of standard day-to-day detangling brush. For me, this is absolutely fine. It does the job. My hair isn't very thick, but there is a lot of it. And for me, this one's okay. And this is actually what I use maybe a day or two after I've washed my hair, because I do wash my brushes every so often, but not between every wash. And so when my hair is getting a little bit dirtier and greasier on days 2, 3, and 4, then I don't want to use the same slightly dirty brush on freshly washed hair. Now, as I say, this brush does work fine for me on a day-to-day basis, but as I say, I have seen in some communities that this can be a little bit uncomfortable for people with sensory processing issues for whatever reason, especially if the hair is thick or prone to tangles and difficult to get out knots. So if a regular paddle brush maybe isn't so good for more tangled or thick hair, what can you use instead? Well, the next brush I'm going to show you is this Tangle Teezer. Now, I believe this is just one of the original Tangle Teezers that I've got here, and it was the first, let's say, non-conventional brush that I got that was specifically marketed at detangling. Now, I actually don't like this brush at all. I got it many years ago and I didn't use it for very long. The things that I don't like about this brush, so what's unique about the Tangle Teezer, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera here, but the sort of spikes that come out, they are a fairly soft plastic, so it's not as jaggy as the ones on the round brush that I showed you, and they've got two different lengths of these spokes. They've got kind of medium length one and a shorter one. I don't like this brush because the spokes are so short that even combing it through my thin hair, I feel like it doesn't go all the way through to the scalp. It's not actually getting through all of the layers of my hair, and so it doesn't actually do a very good job of detangling. I think The idea of having these different size spokes is nice, but I think it's not actually detangling the knots, it's just skipping past them. This also as well gives me like a kind of blunt feeling on the scalp, again because it's not pressing all the way through. It feels somehow mushy, like not mushy in the hand but mushy on the scalp, and I think if you have sensory processing issues as well, then maybe you know what I mean by that. In terms of like holding it as well, and you know, if I was to try and distribute product with this, it's just, for me personally, it's not very nice. I don't enjoy using the Tangle Teezer at all, so I don't use this anymore. And the last brush that I want to talk about in this video is the wet brush. And this is the one that, as I mentioned, I use in the first couple of days after I've just washed my hair, and then I switch to the regular paddle brush afterwards when my hair is a little bit more dirty. So this is a wet brush. That's the name of the company, is Wet Brush. I know sometimes the Tangle Teezer is called a wet brush, but this actual brand is Wet Brush, and I believe this might be the Pro model. If not, it'll be the original, so it doesn't have like the boar hairs or anything like that. Compared to the regular paddle brush, the kind of spokes on the wet brush are a little bit more flexible than the regular one. Actually, when I touch them side by side, they're a lot more flexible, and they're also longer as well, which allows for more of a flex, and I feel like it also gets all the way through the hair as well. This middle section where the air is, this sort of cushion, is quite springy, so it's not too firm but also not too soft, and I really like the way this feels on my hair. There's something very gentle yet thorough about it, and again I think it's due to the length and the flexibility of these spokes. Since this is a wet brush, it is suitable to be used in the shower or when you're washing your hair as well, to distribute product like conditioner, also when you come out of the shower or after you've washed your hair to put in something like leave-in conditioner, heat protectant, all those good things. It's really good for that. You can't use it when you're using heat though, so when you're blow drying your hair you can't use this one just because of the material that it's made out of. But I actually really like this one, and I think it's very effective for detangling. When I first got it, or when I first heard of it, I wasn't that convinced just by looking at it that it would be that different from the paddle brush, but this sensation is a lot more gentle, and I do think that it's a lot more effective at getting rid of the tangles than the regular paddle brush. So that's all for this video just now. I do have a playlist full of reviews that I've done for sensory fidget toys, since the brushes are to do with processing issues, and I don't know, maybe some of you out there also use a brush as a fidget toy or a sensory stimulation toy. So I've got this playlist here where you can watch some of those reviews. I do hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a like and share it with someone who might also enjoy it, and leave me a comment down below and let me know what kind of brushes you use or what your experience has been with some of the brushes that I mentioned in today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!